And benvenuti, fellas and bellas all over the world. Welcome to another episode of the Napoli Rant. I am Raff Biz, joined by my co-host, the vicar of Vesuvius, Raffa Rispo.
What's up, Raff Bizzarro? Come stai oggi?
Tutto posto, Raff. Hello to you and all our listeners out there. Let's get this rant on the road. Napoli, another victory today on the road against Cagliari in Sardinia. We win it 4-0. Conte's men. What a performance. Tight game. Some smoke bombs. Some disruption.
Halt and play.
Yellow cards. Halt and play. We found out a possible record that happened today. Some goals from our forwards. Some goals from our defensemen. I mean, quite the show today, Raffa. Tell me, how you feeling right now?
I'm feeling really good, man. I'm feeling really good. You know, it's funny you said some goals from the defense. Yesterday was watching the Milan game, and the first two goals came from the defense as well. And they mentioned that, and I was like, you know, that's after the game ended, I was like, it's funny that Napoli are also providing what, you know, the big boys are providing, you know, and
right. Absolutely not.
Regularly are we forgotten as big boys, but fear not, because Antonio Conte has come in and really done what needed to be done. You know, in the first four games, minus the Verona result, we've you know, looked like we're becoming more and more of a complete game and is a complete team. And this is just it's a joy to watch. As tough as it may be sometimes, because you said it was tight.
Yeah,
it was tight for most of the game, and then it opened right, and it opened wide up. So I'm just awesome win today. Very good. We're at the provisional top, right, of the league. Inter playing right now, and we'll see what happens. But it's a good way to. It's a good prelude to the Juventus game for next week.
Absolutely. I mean, the game did, I guess you can say the game did kind of start off somewhat scrappy. A lot of non-calls.
Yes.
I mean,
a lot of non-calls. Referee let him play.
Yeah, he let him play. But I don't know like how good that was. I mean, even Matteo Bonetti during the halftime show even said it. It's like the ref let things go. And it carried into the stands. And then you saw the smoke bombs, and then you saw a stoppage of play, and so on and so forth. And you just see all this frustration building up. I don't know if something happened because the Kvara fans were there. And, you know, I don't know if words were saying or things were being exchanged. Who knows? But it's something. We saw the net go on. Did you see that?
They blew a hole through the net. Yeah,
the net's on fire. I think. But here's the secret. Right?
Well, the net's on fire because we're blasting through it, right?
Well, no, it was our net. It was behind Meret. But Meret was certainly on fire, and I think those hot hands today certainly lit up that net. Probably
nice.
He probably touched the net with his hands, and the thing caught flame because Meret was certainly on fire. We're going to talk about him too.
Nice little segue. I like that. That was good. Yeah, Meret was tops today.
Top notch.
Top notch.
Listen, it was tight, Raffa. I mean, we're talking about 1-0 for most of the game.
Right.
And Meret, let's start from the back right now. Meret.
Let's do it.
I mean, we all know how much shit we give this guy, but
yeah,
we all speak about, and I think this is the consensus across the board, we always speak about his reactionary saves.
Mm-hmm.
And today certainly proved that. I mean, you couldn't get any better as far as point blank reaction saves. I mean, coming from his feet down to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
In my eyes, he saved the game. I think without Meret and those saves, it could have been a completely different game.
Sure, and that could be a little alarming, seeing as it's only Cagliari. You know, it seemed like the defense in the first half, especially, were just a little bit off. Just a little bit. I feel like they tightened up quite a bit as the game went on.
Right.
Not saying that anyone in particular had bad performance. I think just like the midfield gave up a little bit too much to let the defense get under pressure allow these shots to go off. Plus, Cagliari were taking some pretty crazy shots too that were like finding the crossbar, finding Meret. There was that one save Meret made that he just fingertipped and hit the crossbar.
Yeah, beautiful.
Went out for a corner and yeah, it was just stuff like that. Like the thing that we harp on about Meret a lot is his play with the ball and at his feet. And that looks like it's getting a little better too. I think that has a lot to do with the positioning of the defense as well. I'm not making excuses for Meret by any means when it comes to that stuff because he blunders a lot. And, every goalkeeper is going to make the odd, blunder, kind of disastrous play, save that should have been a save and whatnot. But today, Meret really showed that he could be one of the best keepers in Italy if he were more consistent like this. But today, like you said, when we were up a goal early, right, or early enough, and the onslaught came on with the shots, he really did tidy up there, and kind of like made up for the, for the defensive, I don't want to say errors, but the defensive maybe like lack of coverage. And came up really big because they were coming at us. So yeah, Meret to me was fantastic today, all game.
I mean, Raffa, there was certainly no lack of shots today combined from both teams, with Cagliari having 19 shots. 5 hit the target. I mean, for Napoli, we had 13. 5 also hit the target. So they were even there. But I mean, Meret had to do his job today. He had to come up big for this team. We're certainly seeing this counterattack that it's still plaguing the Napoli defense. I mean, some people, while I was we were doing the watch party in the Discord, and the word on the street was like even Buongiorno was maybe off a step today, especially during that first half. I thought Rachmani had a pretty solid game, all things considering. Cagliari came out. They came out scrappy. They came out fouling. They were trying to impose their will. The stands were certainly not forgiving towards us. It was a difficult environment for Napoli to play in, but they kept their heads and ultimately came out with the W. But it was there were some close calls. But I think I was pretty confident Napoli were gonna take this because I was even from the beginning of the game. Yeah. Even from the beginning of the game, I was saying in the Discord how I'm like, yeah, they're Napoli's going to start breaking them down little by little because when a team comes off dirty right off the chance, in my opinion, that's saying like we're the weaker opponent. We got to get scrappy and a little dirty. Yeah. We got to try to get in their heads. We need this crowd behind us throwing fire bombs at our goaltender, and this is how we're going to win. So I was like, man, but considering some of those saves, I mean, it kept Cagliari completely out the game, and towards the end, Napoli were able to do what they did, which is get that W.
To harp back on what you mentioned, the Discord was talking about about the defense in the beginning. Let's not forget that the entire defense had just come back from international play. We national team duty was this past week. We missed our Napoli boys because of that. But when most of your team goes away on national team duty, it does take a bit of a toll. We heard about Kvaratskhelia little mini knock that threatened to keep him off the starting 11, but he made it through. You had Lorenzo, who had a really bad first 15 seconds with Italy against France.
Yeah.
But kind of rebounded after that. And Buongiorno played a full 90 against
was that last
against
game,
Israel. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then, Rachmani is the captain for Kosovo, so he's gone, and then even everyone else, except for Lukaku, who ended up staying to integrate more with the team, which I thought was absolutely amazing and like honorable, noble. But let's not forget that that's a reality of this game, is that this Napoli team in particular this season is built for one competition and then a few cup games in between.
Sure.
And we recently had to go play a few games, and when I say we, I mean the whole team, because they're gone playing. It's not really a rest when most of your team is out playing on the national team duty. So, maybe we give them a little bit of a, break for that. And Meret was probably more fresh because he just had to travel a little bit and didn't get to play any of the games. So, there's that too. But honestly, like I said before, once everything's settled down, I really honestly from the second half on, the defense really came up big, in coming forward and going back. So, yeah, and I gotta say, man, this side always looks to me where like let's not forget too. You mentioned like we basically took control of the game and ended up leading the charge and ended up, taking them, it takes a lot to take a team out because you're not as, you don't have as much quality. And I think we maybe played a little rope-a-dope with them in the first half, making them a little tired in the second.
Mm-hmm.
And, Napoli are just a better side, and the better side will always sort of kind of like get control of the game. And that's what happened. Let's also not forget that this is the first game Kvara and Big Ram had to start together. Like the last game was Ram's debut, and he came in, midway through the second half, and they still need to get integrated because Kvara did go to Georgia and play. So, there's a lot of factors here, but I think at the end of the day, when you put it all together, once this Napoli side, I think Mo Solid said this on another chat that I was looking at before we came on. He said, Napoli played really well today, and we're not even playing as well as we could be yet.
I'm with it. Listen, my opinion on the first episode was this is still going to be an uphill battle for Napoli. Granted, we won 3 out of the 4 games so far. And, I think the big test is going to be next week against Juventus, right? Because we still haven't played the big boys quite yet.
Right.
So I'm interested in seeing what's happening, but there's some gelling to do. I'm not fully convinced yet, Raffa. I am enjoying them. I'm not fully convinced. I'm not fully convinced yet. But
I am convinced. I'm convinced that this team's only going to get better. And I agree with Marco Messina on CBS. And I have since minute one that once all these players get involved, you got the Scotts, the Neres, the Lukakus, all that stuff. Once Conte gets his team going and flowing, this team has the potential, especially with no Europe, to finish top 2. I maybe said top 3 at one point, but I'm confident to say, like, if Inter are going to win the Scudetto, Napoli will finish second. I'm confident.
We could be the anti-Inter this year. That's fine. I mean,
I know it's early too, Ralphie. I know it's early, and I know and what you said is valid. It is. You're valid in what you say, where you've got to see a little more. Obviously, we got to play Juventus. We got to play the big boys. But we bounced back from the Verona game by beating the crap out of Bologna, who's a Champions League team this year. Let's still give them a little respect.
Yeah.
They're not doing too well in the league right now. And then this Juve game will be the first real test as they come back from playing in the Champions League. So here we go,
I think it'll say a lot. I think next week is going to be a huge statement for us. And I'm curious to know what the results are going to look like, because I think it'll say a lot. Now, I don't think it'll be like a season-defining game, but it'll certainly expose some of our weaknesses. I'm again, when I say I'm not convinced, it doesn't mean I think that the team all season is going to do bad. I'm just not like you haven't. I guess we just won 4-0. It sucks to say, but but you got to understand we won 4-0 with Meret saving the day. Like, you have to factor that in to the analysis here. So, I mean, I saw some great energy from Anguissa, especially towards the beginning of the game,
sure.
And I wonder if McTominay and Gilmore sitting on the bench there lights a fire under his butt a little bit.
There's some competition now, yeah.
Because I saw some lethargy in the past few games, but today he was rocking and rolling. Lobotka helped on defense certainly, but and the great part, we did see McTominay and Gilmore both come on the field today at the same time. So that was great to see.
That was awesome. Yeah.
That was great to see.
Yeah, and I hoping everybody heard the podcast that Henry made with the Glasgow club. That was a lot of fun to hear their feelings on it and everything like that. Just a little analysis on them and stuff like that. And I know that Henry also has some like close ties to the Gilmore family. Who
knows the guy?
Yeah, so
Henry knows a guy, everybody.
Henry knows a guy. So Henry's basically working like down the road from the Gilmore household, and there's like friends of his that are around where he's at, and he kind of made himself known and got around and has spoken to some of them. I'm sure Henry will put a piece out at some point about it.
Henry, boots on the ground out in Glasgow.
Boots on the ground. Boots on the ground.
The doc.
That show, man. Shadow.
It gave me a lot of hope. Shout out to that.
Super boots to the ground show.
Listen, that show gave me a lot of hope. Listening to those Scotsmen talking about, they're like, these are the best Scotsmen. I can't do a fucking Scottish accent.
Nah, it's all right.
And I won't even try.
I'm not going to pretend to either. I'm sure I can.
And mind you, they scored all the goals for Scotland, right?
Well, they did. Well, that's the thing is that McTominay scored 3 goals. Yeah, he scored all the goals for Scotland. It was literally McTominay who scored every goal for Scotland. There was 2 against Poland and 1 against Portugal. They took the lead against Portugal. Mm-hmm. So that's some real life, competition that's coming into a Scudetto winning midfield, right? Right. Billy Gilmore is a guy who scored 2 goals against Spain in qualifying for Euro, and Spain made it to Euro, so they got out of that group. So like it's a big. These are 2 big acquisitions. It's not just some like, hey, let's tap the Scotland market. These acquisitions made a lot of sense to Conte's game and to the team and what they needed. So it was nice to see them come in for a little bit, and I'm sure there'll be, a lot more featured down the road.
Sure.
I guess it begs the question with Gilmore coming in and as young as he is, with Lobotka having re-signed and a lot of interest from Barcelona, does he leave next year? I guess that's a surprise question for this podcast. I didn't really anticipate talking about that. Maybe it's for another day, but
it could. I mean, who knows? I mean, I guess for now it's speculation, but I want to be surprised because ADL's approach has been very proactive over the past few seasons in regards to the market. So and Gilmore and Leboeck, they're almost similar. They're almost it's almost like a like for like if they're gonna if one comes off for the other. So I'm curious. I mean, Gilmore obviously on the field, he was spunky, he had some energy, he was moving around. Right. I'm sure he was excited. McTominay, maybe not quite as pacey, but the fact that like he was heading balls in the midfield without even jumping was just great for me. He has that great
He's a big guy.
Right, and those long legs with those stomp down defense. So I'm expecting a lot from
And
him.
I tell you what, it was nice, even though I know Lobotka had a yellow, but when does he really get an opportunity to go sit and get some rest, and come off the bench, go onto the bench and rest a little bit? There's not a lot of opportunity for that. So it was nice to see him come off.
He's never had quite.
That's what I mean.
Quite the substitution for him, right?
Right.
Like
he's never had the coverage for him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So,
it's good. No, it's good. It's great.
Yeah. So
but Gaetano's a little more offensive. So like, when it happened, we would change a little shape, but it didn't happen often. So it's nice. It's a very good. Hey, listen, it's a good change of pace, and it may have been very scrappy for most of this game, but like I said, once Ram found Kvara, I think the floodgates open. It was a nice. First of all, one thing I noticed about the first half, quick, was Ram was doing everything he could to basically hold up play and win balls and body defenders. That was I mean, every little ball that came to him, even if it was like a trickle to him, he would just kind of hold back his defender, his marker, and it works, man. That big back and those big shoulders, it really does work.
You're not pushing
no, you're not phasing him at all, and he draws a lot of fouls doing that too. So the impact that you see Romelu Lukaku make right away, led to the first goal, right? Because he assisted Di Lorenzo, which was at first I was weirded out because I thought they were going to give it an own goal to Yadi Mina, who thankfully I dropped from fantasy this week.
Okay.
But I thought they were going to give it to Yadi Mina, but honestly, the ball was on target and looked as if it was going in, regardless of the deflection. So I think that's why they
that's
gave
what
it
everybody
to,
was saying.
to Di Lorenzo.
In the watch party, that ball was going in no matter what. But either way, I mean, Lukaku, another goal, another assist. I mean, we're talking about impact players like immediately. He's certainly one of them. Whether it's the Conte effect, whether it's the kind of player he is, we're already starting to see results from Lukaku. So that's positive news.
The beautiful through ball to Kvara in the second half, man. That was just so great.
So great. Simple. I was like, man, just keep it simple and we can do things. And that happened. And boom, we win this game.
And in the first half too, he did have an opportunity where he was on goal and there was a nice through ball played to him. But he kind of stumbled at his feet. He stumbled at his feet. But you know what? He made up for it, man. Man of the match again by Serie A standards. That was
well deserved.
2 games in a row there now. Yeah, for sure.
Well deserved. But I want to talk about another guy, and then we'll get into the beast of the match quick, Raffa. But he is certainly a darling for us. He is winning our attention. He is winning our hearts. He won beast of the match last.
He did.
Was it last?
Was it last week or was it the week before?
No, it was last week. It was last week because I did the cool beats.
Oh yeah, yes,
and it was David, and it comes in the name of David Neres. David Neres. Fun fact, Raffa, if you don't mind, I'll read that off, and then we'll jump off of that. It was reported on Napoli.it, one of the sites that I kind of favor to read my Napoli news, but the turns out that David Neres is the first player to provide an assist in each of his first 3 Serie A games, or first 3 Serie A games, rather, since the data has existed from 2004-2005.
So you're saying, David Neres is the first player in history. Well, I don't know about in history, but since they've been keeping track. Of assists, since the sport has been keeping track of assists since 2004.
2005, right.
To get an assist in his first 3 Serie A appearances, and they were all off the bench. That's not part of the record. The record is in their first 3 Serie A appearances.
Yes.
These 3 just happened to be off the bench. So what has he played? About an hour total?
If that.
That's an unbelievable statistic is what it is.
If that. I'd like to see – I want to see how many minutes he's played it if I can pull it up while we're still talking here. But
yeah, it's absolutely a madness. I mean, it begs the question, and I did put this out to Twitter, and I'm not sure – haven't checked Twitter yet. While you check that, I'll check Twitter to see if we had any reaction.
Go on.
But I put it on my Twitter, tagged the Napoli Rant. Should this mean that David Neres takes the starting position and Politano has a seat? Now I know we talked about this last time we were on, or the time before that. And we went into it a little bit. I mean, we talked about how Politano sometimes is a lot better off the bench than he is when he starts. But here's my thing, is that Politano, while very, very frustrating, Politano gets shots on target. Like, if you were to bet Politano to take a shot on target, right, you're probably going to win the bet 9 times out of 10.
Really?
He gets shots. Oh, yeah. A lot of times he gets shots on target. There's a few times where he'll shoot and they get blocked a lot and, take erratic shots and whatever. I would say bet him to take a shot on target almost 9 times out of 10. He did it for me today. He got himself a shot on target. He gets himself in. And you know what? It's frustrating at times because a lot of his production doesn't come through until he scores and then we have to shut up. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't really know if that's the move, because obviously this is working. Neres off the bench is working too. So
yeah, but so by the way, I just looked it up now without counting stoppage time, only official play. All right,
okay.
within the 90 minutes so far. David Neres, of these 4 games, he appeared in 3, has played a total of like 31 minutes.
31 minutes, not
31
even
minutes.
60 minutes. 31 minutes.
This is not counting any stoppage time. Okay.
Right, because there was a lot of stoppage time against Parma.
So
right.
Maybe in total with stoppage time, because of last week when we had almost like 15 minutes of stop, maybe he hits close to an hour. But official within the 90 minutes, he's at about 31 minutes, and he already has 3 assists off the bench. So speaks volumes.
That's unbelievable. It really is. And once again, though, like it begs the question: what do you think, Ralph? Does he get the starting nod? Because I could say, Napoli were leading when he came in against Bologna. Napoli were leading today, but they were down against Parma when he came in, or at least they were. Were they drawn level or were they down? No, they were down when he came in.
Yeah, but
so I'm just saying we've seen it happen now at home while they're up, or at home while they're down, on the road while they're up. Like, what else do we need to see to sort of like say, hey, this may be like our 12th man, like how Mertens used to be a super sub before he started scoring a bunch of goals when Milik got hurt. Neres comes on the pitch and you're pretty much lights out for an assist. This one today was from the corner kick that Buongiorno scored his first goal.
Beautiful corner kick. The bend on it was
beautiful bend. Now, I'm telling you, David Neres is the future. I don't know why he's not on Brazil's national team unless he is, and he hasn't featured.
It must be so hard to crack into that national team.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It must be. There's so much talent coming out of that country. But
sure.
I mean, Raffa, I think what we're gonna need for David Neres is for him to start a game against a quality opponent and see how he does, see how he produces. And if he produces, and if he gets another assist or a goal or what have you, or at least is involved in a play and can put Napoli up almost immediately and causes an impact from minute 1, I think you have your answer. Now, that's not to take away anything from Politano. I know there's tons of back and forth with Politano, but I don't mind Politano off the bench. He does. We hear a lot of it. He does contribute on defense. He does makes those runs along the side of the pitch. He puts defenders in difficulty by burning their energy. So I think it's just another good problem to have. They could switch back and forth to who starts, who doesn't start. I don't know. I don't know what kind of what that does to the form of a player. So it might not be a great idea. But I mean, Politano has certainly earned his spot in the sense that he's been on this team for a while.
Yeah.
And, again, he's somebody that contributes on defense. So I don't know how much I'm with you as far as his accuracy on goal. I'd like to check those stats. He constantly gets made fun of punting the ball, into the top of the curva over there. So and he's kind of like a 1 or 2 trick pony. He's almost like Insigne on the right side. So
yeah,
for that, I don't know. But I like his contribution on defense. He's done a lot. He's really underrated with all that. But I'd like to see Neres, his vision and that creativity and just what this does for the team. But I want to see it from minute 1. That's when I'll be fully convinced.
Okay.
It's easy to come off the bench full of energy going up against tired defenses, with a little bit of pressure off you.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. You can get cheeky and something happens. But I'm also not denying his skill and his ability. I think he's great with the ball at his feet and his vision. I said it before, I'll say it again. But I want to see minute 1, what kind of impact, what he has in his legs, the energy, how much he's able to provide for the team, and then I'll take it from there.
Well, let me ask you this. Does he get the start against Juventus now?
Man, we were speaking about this again during the game. Now, my short answer, yes. I think he earned it. I think he earned it, and because maybe we give Politano a break.
Or do you go with the tried and true? Because when I was on with Joe, he made a good point too. I think the opportunity to have started Neres was today, maybe. and then you go with what a little bit more experience with Napoli with the team against Juventus, against he's got experience playing against Juventus too. So like I'm not saying there's no wrong answer in my opinion here. I think if you really think about it, either way works. But do you experiment with Neres starting now against Juventus, or do you just go? Because in my opinion, it's an experiment. It's
a good question. It's a tough answer. I'm gonna leave this one on Conte so I don't roast myself here. But if he does start, I'm not mad, and that's simply because already what he's provided on the pitch so far. And again, from what I said earlier, I want to see you from minute one against a quality opponent. If David Neres comes onto the field against Juventus and performs, I mean, my question to you, does he solidify a starting role in that position over Politano? I don't know. Or is it something that they flip-flop? Maybe Politano gets 45 and then Neres comes on in the beginning of the second half. I don't know. But
yeah,
is it a gamble for Conte? Slightly, yes. Only because you're not sure how he's going to perform, how he's going to react to that kind of pressure against that type of rivalry. But
right,
if you want to throw him to the Lions and see what happens next week, is the perfect time to probably do it.
To see where he's at, maybe. Okay.
I mean, where he's at, or to see where he's going to be, or where he's going. I mean, David Neres starting against Juve, being successful, it's going to say a lot. And
so you're right, 100%. The weekend after, or I'm sorry, not the weekend after, the midweek after, is Napoli Palermo in the Coppa Italia. So Juventus come in, on the back of a Champions League game this week, but then Napoli go after the Juventus game and they have to play Palermo in midweek. So here is an opportunity to maybe do some rotation or rotate against Palermo. Maybe we see that against Palermo, Ralph, instead.
Another, it's a good take, Raffa, and there's a lot of people listening that probably agree with you, because this was another thing that was discussed in the chat. Do you want to do this turnover? When can you do it? Well, do it against Palermo. It's Coppa Italia. It's Palermo. You want to integrate the guys. It's a game that obviously it's still an important game. It's something that, especially this season, we want to see Napoli do. We want to see Napoli. It's like you don't have any other obligations. Let's do something in Coppa Italia.
Yeah, I think it's important to go far in Coppa, especially after the two very disappointing Coppa Italia campaigns.
Right. Let's get something on our kit next season for sure. I mean, whatever. We could still have a Scudetto patch. Who knows? But dare I say. But yeah, I think if you're going to do an experiment, I don't think there's going to be experiments against Juve. That's for sure. There could be with Palermo, but I'm curious to see who's going to get the nod this week or next week, rather. I'm curious to see what Conte is going to do. But if I had to guess, he's going to stick with the tried and true. Maybe one or two other switches. Maybe
you could make a switch or two, but like I don't know if it's wise to make too many against Juve. You know,
maybe two max, but that's about it. Maybe we see Oliveira instead of Spinazzola.
Possible.
Maybe we see Neres instead of Politano.
Yes.
But beyond that, Lobotka starts, Anguissa starts, Lukaku starts, Kvara starts. Buongiorno, Rachmani, Di Lorenzo, they're starting.
Yeah.
And
it's good. It's good. Hey, it's a good problem to have, right?
And listen, they won 3 in a row with that formation. What do you want? You're gonna stick with it. Conte is gonna try to get as much as he can from these players. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. And
Perfect.
As long as they can keep their energy up, but beast of the match, Raffa. We might be finishing with the beast of the match, because I feel like we already touched upon the Neres Politano thing.
Oh no, yeah, that's a good way to finish too.
Good way to finish. I guess
it was easy. It was easy this week. It was easy.
I guess you can say it was easy, right?
The fact that there were many. I don't think there were many shouts in the Discord. There were many thoughts in my head. That's for sure. But I think the one clear choice for Beast was pretty unanimous all over.
Well, we're going to mention it right now, guys. We'd like to know what you think. Put it in our comments, or we can share it on Instagram when we do that. But let us know. We're going to do the drum roll. Drum roll, Raffa. E per Napoli, la bestia della gara, con il numero 1, Alex Meret.
Alex Meret. We end the show the way we started the show. There's not a lot more to say about it because we kind of covered it.
No,
but
I mean, listen, he was in
beast performance,
without a doubt.
It's a beast. Here's what I will add. You mentioned in the Discord, Meret beast 100% unless he concedes. And I said to you, I think even if he does concede, he deserves it. Because at that point, it was 2-3-0.
Yeah, right. At that point, we had a little cushion.
Yeah. I think even it's a beast-worthy performance, even had we not been only up 1. Even had it not been a barrage of shots. Mm-hmm. He just really looked, and it wasn't just the saves. It was like getting to the balls on the corner kicks. It was just one opportunity where I saw him just kind of just body himself in. You know, he really took charge today, and that's something you want to see from your keeper, especially one that comes under scrutiny every now and then from from different sides of the fan spectrum. You know, this was a solid, well-deserved, beastly performance from Alex Meret, and one can only hope that maybe he has also had to have a fire lit under his ass, like you said, the flares hit the net, so it transferred to his gloves, because behind him is a very capable Caprile and Young. Who is waiting in the wings there, you know? So maybe this is something where, hey, what we anticipated was first 2-3 games, Meret comes in, maybe has a poor game, maybe has 2 poor games, then we see Caprile and that's it. But we haven't really had to do that this year so far.
Right.
And then that goal he gave up in the game against Girona, the last preseason game that we played, it was a little worrying. It was a little, we were a little bit concerned with it, but I think he's really rebounded back well. That Verona game, I don't put on him.
Right.
There's a lot of factors behind that, but I really think he's had a pretty decent season so far. And this game was definitely his best game.
Certainly.
In a long time.
You know what? I mean, one can say, well, he did his job. Exactly. But understand that he did his job when we were only up 1-0. It wasn't like we had these cushions. Meret,
he did his job. You could say that about anybody on the pitch then. You know what I mean?
But understand.
There's circumstances to this game. It's not just the keeper should always get that ball, or the keeper should always this, or hey, you always got to do that when you have this position. There are circumstances in the game that come about, like you said, the fans doing their thing and stopping the game for 8 minutes. That stopped the game for 8 minutes. That got the players cold for about 8 minutes. You know what I mean? There are things happen in the course of not just a football game, a soccer game. Things happen in the course of life where it's like, oh, well, you should be able to this, that, and the third.
Right.
But you know what? Not every time, is it going to turn out that way? And
right.
the game of football is no different. Games, things happen in the course of games that can alter performances and abilities and such. So when someone says something like that, like, oh, it's his job, he should do that. He's just doing his job as a keeper. Man, I was a keeper, and I know that things happen where you just can't. You may have the game of your life, and then you have a pretty bad game. Nothing is ever just straight and narrow,
Right. Well, listen, you're talking about point blank shots that he had to go from fully standing down to the floor to make these incredible fast reaction saves. Sure. It was beastly. It kept the team in the game. It kept Cagliari out the game. It kept their fucking shit fans that were just throwing shit all over the place out the game. And he, to me, is responsible for this win, in my opinion. In my opinion. And not only that, but this also you can kind of like put it together for that last minute save that he did against Parma in the 4,000th minute of stoppage time.
Oh yeah,
2 weeks ago.
Sure.
That crazy reaction point blank save, which kept which got
the W.
Which got the W. So you put those teams together. Alex Meret, beast of the match today against Cagliari, 100%. Couldn't ask for more. Couldn't ask for more. Bottom line. And that's the bottom line because Raffa said so. Anyway.
So you really quick. I know we're getting short on time here, but De Laurentiis just celebrated his 20th anniversary as the Napoli owner.
Yes.
I'd like to give this a little more time because I do want to give my opinion and my answer. Maybe I'll record my own little side show.
Do it.
Just as you have, right, Ralph?
Yeah. So
you've got something coming out.
Exciting news, guys. So I did something the other day.
Raff did a thing.
Raff did a thing, man. I'm making this new piece, and it's called Mind Your Biz. It's something that I have had on my mind maybe for about a year or so now. And what it is I'm going to be picking our fans because, we don't have this live aspect anymore, Raffa. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out there and I want to pick some fans because there's a lot of fans with good opinions and maybe they don't have the time, the means, the capabilities or whatever to start a podcast. Listen, guys, this is not easy. Even if you do it once a week for an hour, it's not easy. A lot of people start, they can't finish. And I don't blame them. It's a big responsibility. It's
not easy.
There are a lot of brilliant minds out there, Raffa, and that have something good to say. And I want to give these people a chance to say something on the microphone, Like put your money where your mouth is. Come in with me. It gives me an opportunity to question people because I learn a lot. I learned a lot of ball from a lot of these fans, from a lot of our listeners, and I appreciate it, and I want to extend that appreciation. So I recorded my first episode the other day. I did it with two loyal members of our Discord. Their names Cal and Daniel. And we spoke about De Laurentiis. We spoke about the good, the bad, and how if Napoli is going to become a dynasty. And I think it was an interesting conversation. Short format, easy listening, easy to digest. So, and we're going to be doing more of it. So we want people to participate more so I can choose you maybe or the one of our listeners to come on and record with me. And we're going to talk about a quick topic and, something easily digestible for all of our listeners. And we're going to put it up on the Far From Studios network. And it's just more content, guys, and an opportunity for the fans. So please, if you're interested, DM me. If you got something to say, send me a DM on Twitter. Come into the Discord. I would really love to the people who are loyal fans to come in and say something. And we want to build more of it. We want this community to grow more, and we want to give the opportunity for everybody to say something.
And what a way to start with the one of the probably great timing in starting it, and I did try to get with Henry Bell to put something out. It just didn't happen with our schedules, but the fact that we're starting that segment of our brand with the ADL 20th anniversary is pretty epic way to start, man. So kudos to you. Kudos to Cal. I really like Cal. Dan Ruggiero too. Really good guy. I can't wait till it comes out. A couple days, I'm sure.
We're gonna drop. Yeah.
But yeah, man. Congrats to you guys, and I hope it really takes off. I do remember inviting a couple of members of the Discord onto the show to have debates with me and little mini fights, which we could still do.
Sure.
Through Biz's new venture and through our new venture, and let's get it done.
Let's get it done. All right, folks.
Good show, Ralphie boy.
Great show as always, Raff. Thank you again. Wonderful victory. We got Juve coming up. Super excited. If I'm off for work, if I'm off for work, I'm gonna do everything I can to get it off. I will be in New Jersey with the Napoli Tifosi of New Jersey, with Vic and the rest of the crew out there in break, I believe.
I wish. So I was obviously going to get myself over to the Tri-State Club's version of this Juve Napoli Festa, right? I don't know if it's happening. I'm a little tied up. It sucks that it's a Saturday at noon. If it was a Sunday, I'd be there definitely 100%. Still have to go visit Vic in Jersey. Still want to go down to visit Philly. Still want to go to wherever there's a Napoli club.
Wherever we're going, man. Lots of destinations.
We've got to get these things done. I would love for you guys to come up to me one of these days too. Save me a few miles.
Sure.
But yeah, man, wherever you guys are at, with watching this Juve Napoli, which should be a really big game. Have fun, be good, support our team. That's what it's all about at the end of the day, right? No matter where it is that you are, supporting this team, supporting this club, supporting the league, and making it grow and have fun down there, Rafi, if you can make it.
All right. Yeah, hopefully. Please, boss, give me the day off. But that's all the time we have, guys. Thank you again. Be sure to make sure you follow us, give us a like. Again, come into the Discord. Let's talk Napoli a little bit more. And until then, folks, we'll see you next week for Napoli Juve. Forza Napoli sempre.
Sempre. Ciao, ciao.